I think that like some of the best things you can do for yourself is just get outside and try to get outside every day. Even if it's for a 5-minute walk or, just to sit on your front porch. I think when you're having a hard time or, going through stuff, that's the best thing you can do, especially, well, exercise obviously, but even if you just don't feel like it, just go sit outside and luckily we're in a good spot for that. So
welcome to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Crock, and every Monday I talk to someone here in North Idaho with the goal to connect more people in the Coeur d'Alene area. And then every Friday I talk to someone outside the community to bring in a new perspective and to learn a little bit about yourself. Good morning. I have Danica with me today. Danica I've interviewed her before, and we talked about full moon cruiser rides. So Danica does the full moon cruiser rides here in Coeur d'Alene, but she's also a real estate agent at local real estate here in Coeur d'Alene. She is involved with the community. She's one of those people, I think like myself, that we overcommit and get involved with everything in the community. And she's done a little bit of everything. So Danica, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you're up to.
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, that was a great intro to what I'm doing now. We started the full moon rides a couple years ago, and it was all based out of the brewery that I used to own. Sold that and then transferred over to real estate now. So I play real estate lady, which is a lot of fun, especially today. And we're continuing the rides. So we just started them up again. We had the first one this week in over a year, post-COVID. I don't know if we can say that. Is it post-COVID now? Like back to events, post, I don't know, 50 people events. Yeah. So yeah, just kind of working back into the routine of full moon rides, events, parties, community activities, and yeah.
So how did this whole full moon cruiser ride even start?
Gosh, well, yeah, 2 years ago, it was myself. You were there, Trek, Coffee Roboto. Was there anyone else at that meeting? It was the very beginning.
Your real estate weren't they part of it at the beginning?
Local, yeah, I think local was there the first meeting too. Yeah, and we sat around a table at the brewery and we decided, it'd be really fun if we got together every full moon and went on a bike ride. Sandpoint does one, Spokane does one. They're nationwide. Like we're not reinventing anything here, but we thought we have such a cool town and we have a really beautiful town to do it in too. A lot of like cute little businesses we can highlight and we want to give it a go. So we gathered, we thought, well, maybe like 20, 30 people will show up. And the very first ride, I think we were, 50 to 100 bikes. And then after that, it just grew and grew and grew and turned into a giant beast of an event. And then we started getting a little more recognition. And so we had to start pulling permits and organizing and making routes and having volunteers. And so we built it all up. And then COVID happened and we had to kind of put the pause on things. So the last ride, I think, was March of last year. And then we tried to do a couple virtual ones. I think we did like April, May. We did like set routes. People joined in and recorded and took pictures and stuff, but it just wasn't the same. So we just said, we're going to stop, just take a little break. And then I think honestly, everyone thought we weren't coming back. They were like, well, I don't think this will happen again. And I've heard that this group started like years past, that there was someone else trying to do a full moon ride. They did a couple and then it kind of, disappeared also. So I think that's what most people thought, that it wasn't going to happen again and we weren't going to do it. Well, now as things have been relaxing a little bit more and we're allowed to have events, with a good health plan, we decided, let's just put this together again. Let's give it a try. So we this last week decided to host it at the real estate office, and it turned out really good. It was really great. I think there was easily over, I don't know, what do you think? 100
over 100
people?
Oh my gosh.
And I truly was expecting 20 to 30. I was like, well, and it's just like, who knows what the weather's going to be? Is it going to rain? At 4 o'clock that afternoon, it was raining and gray. And then by 6 o'clock, it was sunny, beautiful, and like everyone showed up. And so we hung out outside in the alleyway, and so there, there was that space. And if you weren't comfortable with it, I noticed a lot of people had masks on, and we're just kind of hanging back, and then joined the ride, and we're a part of at least the bike ride. So it
Yeah,
was
and there was live music, and I don't think the Radio Brewing was expecting that. Like he ran out of beer.
Yes. Yeah. He's like, oh, I brought however many cases of beer and 2 little kegs of beer. And he's like, I thought that was going to be way enough. And within the first like half hour, he's like, I got to go and get more beer. And I was like, yeah, you do. And so then I hung out and tried to ring in some beer. And then, yeah, it was wild. Yeah.
It was so awesome. And so now, I mean, that was the first one because you kind of like were getting out the kinks, but like what's going to happen for the rest of the year is what I think is really great is
Yeah.
going to keep something consistent. So people are like, hey, where's that this week? Where's that this week? Talk a little
Yeah.
bit about how you guys are changing that.
Yeah, so we had to come up with a plan because I knew that this would turn into a real big deal now. And I think especially because people have been looking forward to some sort of event. So I think the events this summer are going to be a really big deal. So we went round and round looking at different locations, who can host it. It's a huge undertaking for a business to host a couple hundred people, and in a short window too. It's only a 2-hour event. It goes from 6 to 8 o'clock, and so 2 hours of chaos, but it's a lot of setup and it's a lot of cleanup. And so we tried to find the right spot, but then we also have to be able to ride bikes there and like also have an easy route in and out. So we landed on Cork and Tap and Riverstone. So they are going to be our new home for the full moon rides for the rest of this year. The next one's May 26th. The plan is they have this awesome garage door they can roll up and a good spot out in front. For the first one, we're going to push the railings out just to take over the parking spots in front of Cork and Tap and put up vendor tents and things like that. I think quickly after we'll notice that this is going to be a really big deal and we might have to expand out into that area. So we got permission from Riverstone. They're really excited to have us and support the ride. And so Riverstone's going to be involved. And then from there, we're jumping on the Centennial Trail. So the Centennial Trail will be involved. And I think it's going to make it even a better community event, involving more people. We'll have all the businesses in Riverstone involved too, if they want to be. And so I think it's going to get bigger and better. The route will be, I think, a lot better, also a lot safer. Right now, it's super fun going down 3rd and 4th Street and going down Sherman, and but as the summer goes on, it gets crazy, and we have a lot of people drinking and partying and racing up and down the streets in cars, and it's dangerous, especially with little kids and a mass amount of people. So from now on, we're going to be using the Centennial Trail, and so we only have to cross one street just to get on it, and then we'll hop right on right in Riverstone, and we're going to head from the Riverstone to downtown on the trail. We might take a little lap around the park, and then from there the ride, it's just going to kind of end. So it's up to you if you want to continue back to Riverstone, if you parked a car there, or if you want to just ride home from downtown, because I think a lot of people will probably ride out and then just go home right after that. So it'll be a little different. We're not going to have like the start and stop and midpoint that we usually had. We're just going to have a gathering and then disperse kind of from there. So
and it's really cool. I like that you used to do that. It's like get other businesses involved and like get
yeah,
bring awareness to like a new coffee shop or a fitness studio or whatever it is. But this is so much safer and less stress
yeah,
for you and your team, because like organizing that and getting the city's approval. I mean, you're like a parade, so it's stressful for both parties. So I really like that you guys have kind of just like, all right, this is home base. This is where we're going to have the fun, and then you're out from there. And it seems like Cork and Tap is really excited to have the.
Oh, they're going to be a great host too, because they have beer, wine, food. They have just a little bit of everything, and they have the space too. Like they have room inside, so if the weather's bad, we can go inside, but they also have a great outdoor spot. And yeah, I just think it's going to be a safe space for everyone. So yeah, I'm excited about it. looking forward to the craziness of the summer and just seeing how it's going to go. But yeah, it'll be
I
good.
love it. So let's talk about what made you go into real estate? Like you have been doing, I mean, you owned a brewery, you have done tons of things with the community, you've done things with chamber, you've done all kinds of things. What made you go into real estate in this crazy market?
Selling my brewery did. Yeah, it was kind of an unexpected sale, a really good opportunity for someone else to come in. And so, sold it through local real estate. And then, during the process, my agent, Neil, is now my broker. He was like, I think you should get into real estate. I think you'd be really good at it. And I think this is something you'd like. And I was like, no, I don't want to be a realtor. I don't want to be one of the 1,000 realtors, like, I don't want to sell you something. It doesn't sound at all appealing to me. So after the sale of the brewery, I traveled and I had no idea what I was going to do. I thought maybe I'd start up something again. I went to Italy, came back, and I was like, oh, I'm going to start a pizza shop. I want to do pizza, and this is what I'm going to do. And then I had a realtor reach out to me and say, do you want to help me with my social media and just posting? And I was like, no, that sounds terrible. Like, I just don't want to be involved in real estate stuff. Like, I just have always had this view on realtors. It's just kind of like sleazy, like salespeople, right? And that like want to like use you for your connection or whatever. I know that sounds bad, but that's kind of how I've always thought. Like, I was like, oh gosh, you just want to be friends with me because you want me to buy something from you or whatever. And so I thought, I don't want to be involved in that. And but I started looking into real estate. This was right at the beginning of COVID because I thought I could help realtors market their like Instagram and put together like social media stuff. And then I kind of started getting into it because I was following the market. I was looking into how to promote being a real estate agent. And I was like, this actually is kind of fun. Like, you're snooping through people's houses online and it just seemed kind of fun. And so I was like, well, it's something I could do during COVID. I could just go to school and study. I have the time because I'm not working and everything's shut down. And so I gave it a try, went through the school, loved it, thought it was super interesting. And then I was like, okay, I'll just do this kind of on the side. Like, I'll just kind of like see if I like it. And then it also turned out to be the craziest year ever to be in real estate. And I love it. It's the best job I've ever had. It's so rewarding. It's super fun. And I was not expecting to be into it at all. So it worked out really good. I am less than a year into it, but I can see myself doing it for a lot longer now. I love it.
Yeah. And it's so crazy. I think this is a great proof to like show that you building that relationship in the community has really helped you in getting listings and people trusting you. I think that now that you've already been out in the community, you've already kind of made a name for yourself. People are like, oh, Danica's in it. Great. I trust Danica. I trust her with my property or helping me find this. I think that shows really a lot of how realtors should do things.
Yeah. And I think everybody tries to do it. I don't think that you're trying to be like a salesman, but you do like, I think you do have to make those connections and things and then kind of just, build your group around you. So luckily, I've had just some really awesome people in our community participate in events and things. So it's been a little easier to connect, but yeah.
I love it. Well, I'm going to ask you a couple little fun questions. So if you had a billboard and you could put anything on your billboard, what would it say or have on it?
Oh gosh. I was just thinking about this the other day because I was going down Northwest Boulevard and and there's like all these different billboards for banks, the hospitals, whatever. And I was like, I'm really surprised that out of like 3,000 agents in our town, there's not a realtor up here. And I was like, could you do something kind of fun that like could I mean, I don't know. I was just surprised that nobody's done it. And I was kind of thinking, okay, what could I do that like could like you could draw attention to your brand. I don't know. I think it'd have to be something funny. I think it'd be something funny that like would catch people's eye. I couldn't think of it though, and so I don't know what the answer would be. But it'd have to be something kind of short and funny and something. I don't know. That's
Maybe
a
you
really
want a
hard
bicycle,
question.
like you want
On a bicycle.
full moon.
Yeah. I'd have to do something with the full moon, probably like, I don't know. Gosh, I don't know. That's a hard question, but
For the moon,
I have been
Danica,
thinking about it.
like something super corny.
Yes, yeah. It'd have to be funny because all of them are so serious. They're like, "Oh, did you get injured? Go to the hospital." Oh, like they're use the bank. Like they're just all, I don't know. None of them are that hilarious. And I'm like, "Oh, it'd be funny to do something kind of
Out
good
there.
over
I
there."
agree 100%. I know there's been a couple that have tried to, but it's like the location has to be perfect too. It's like
Yeah.
you're right there where like the one that's like the hospital one's the one I always think of because I always see it. I was like, gosh, they could do
Yeah.
some really cool stuff with this billboard.
Yes. Yeah. I know. I'm surprised that they don't switch over as often either. I wonder what that schedule looks like. I should look into it and see
You
what it's
should.
like to even get a billboard.
That's a
Like,
great opportunity
what does
right
it
there.
cost to put a billboard up? I
And
have
then
no
you
idea.
could do that because then you're like your sponsors for the Full Moon Cruiser ride. You guys could all do one big thing and then
Yeah.
promote.
It has to be pretty bold too, though. Like I think some of them get a lot of information on it, and you're like, you don't see
You're
that
driving
unless,
by it.
yeah. And then you're also like navigating through traffic and all sorts of things. That's a busy road, so you're like, you get a lot of eyes on it, but you have to make it pretty simple, or like
Lost.
it
Yeah,
doesn't work. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So, what is a piece of advice that has been given to you that you has been really beneficial in your life?
Oh gosh. I probably should have thought about these questions because I thought maybe you might ask something like this, but
I
I
should have
didn't.
given you. I thought about it too. I was like, maybe I should let Danica prepare.
It's fine. I think like I can't remember who said this to me, but I really have like lived by it, is just trying to say yes to everything. And I know like there's that limit with having boundaries, and but trying to just try everything once, and let everyone be involved, and yeah, saying yes has been really great. So when people are like, "Oh, you should give this a try," I'm like, and then just to remember, okay, it's just say yes. Like when I was recommended to be in real estate, they were like, you should give it a try. I should have just said, okay, yeah, let's try it, and instead I kind of went back and forth, and then I ended up saying yes, and it was the greatest thing ever. So I think just making sure that you're at least trying everything once, or looking into it. I think that's really important.
I agree 100%. And then I think I've always said that to people like in the community too, like to say yes, especially when you're trying to get your foot in the door or trying to meet new people or trying to network. Say yes to those opportunities to volunteer, get a part of like a different group, just really get out there because when you build yourself, then you can start saying no to those things because you've already like kind of, you can start to be selective. But I like that, at least try. It's like trying new food. It's like just at least try it.
Yeah,
You might hate it, but at least try it. Or you might love it.
yeah,
Same thing.
yeah. If you hate it, don't do it again. If it's not something you're into, don't do it again. But at least give it a try once. Yeah.
So are you reading any good books right now or recommend any like I don't know, are you a self-help or are you like a leadership book or do you read romantic novels?
Oh gosh, I actually have two books on my nightstand right now. I am reading Boundaries. It's a little bit of a self-help book, but trying to just kind of learn how to say no because I say yes a lot, and kind of where my boundaries are. So I've been working on that. And then I started a book last night. Oh, I can't even remember. It's like something about the light, and it's this like French city, and it was really interesting. So that's my fun book. So like kind of a serious book and a fun book, all in once. And so,
I know I
yeah,
love fun books when you're like on vacation and you're on a beach and you don't want to think about work or anything. And that's when I'm like, oh,
yeah,
like I did that. I went to Hawaii and I read like all of, like the Hunger Games, like all of them, because it was like, might as well. And then you fly through it and you're sitting on the beach. So it was like more fun.
yeah,
But, like the self-help books or like leadership books, those are more fun when you're like right in the middle of working and stuff.
yeah. I like to read like my self-help books in the morning with my coffee because I'm like feeling like, okay, I can take this in, I can think about it all day. And then when I go to bed, I want to read something that's just kind of mindless, that's just entertaining. I just want to be entertained and like put to sleep at that point. So I have like two different styles and two different books on my end stand.
Well, that's why I watch Friends at night, like the TV show Friends.
Oh,
It's so
I've
fun.
seen every episode like 100 times.
And I
I
love it.
love that show.
And it's just like you're just like you can block out all of everything from the day and you just can be like you're hanging out with your friends at night. Like
I know.
I love it.
And it's not stressful. It's not, you don't have to think about anything. Like sometimes I like to get into like this more serious shows, but yeah, if you can just watch something that's funny and easygoing, it's the best.
I love it. So if you could have dinner with anybody dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. I don't know, well, this week just alone, and I know like for so many people, Hagedon was, we just lost him this week, and I have never got to meet him. And I was thinking, man, I wish that I would have made a point in the last couple of years to try to meet this like legend, right? And I know so many people had good connections with him, and he's done so much for our community. And I felt like that's somebody I would love to sit down with and just talk to about the history of our town too. He was involved in so much. And so I think if I had to answer that just for today, that's what I would say. I would have had dinner with him. I wish I would have got to know him. And yeah.
Well, I mean, I got to meet him once, and it was him and Lola. And they were touring the Boys and Girls Club when I worked there, and that's when they gave the $1.5 million or whatever it was to build the new Boys and Girls Club in Coeur d'Alene. And if you ever get a chance to go meet Lola, she's just as fantastic. But I feel the same way. I would have loved to sit down with Dwayne and actually pick his brain about business, like finding out he only went to college for 6 months. He was a paper boy, like to hear like his story, and that like you don't need to go to college and do big things like and waste all this money because everyone's in debt. It's like, oh, this guy like built himself, and you like Coeur d'Alene, and the reason everyone's moving here is a lot because of him.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. I would have loved to have dinner with him and just, get to know him because he is kind of iconic here, like, and you look at his resort and his house and like the golf course and all of these things. And I'm like, man, like who's the man behind all this? And I wish, that's something I would have done. Like, I'm sure it could have happened. I could have reached out and said, hey, do you want to go to dinner? Like, I want to meet you. Like, I don't think that's a crazy thing to ask somebody. Like, hey, I think you're really amazing. Can I get to know you? Like, so yeah, that's who I would have went to dinner with.
That's awesome. So going right into that, what do you love the most about our community?
I love like I don't even know how to say this, walking and riding bikes and just being able to get everywhere so easily. Like that's the best part of Coeur d'Alene. I can walk, ride my bike anywhere in town, grocery store, out to eat, friend's house, to the beach, mountain biking, whatever you want to do. It's all really accessible, and it seems very safe too to do, right? Like I do this all by myself. I'll ride my bike home at midnight and I feel totally good about it. I don't think twice about being out and walking around, or if I want to go to dinner, walking or taking my bike. Like I just think that's super important, and something I love the most about this area. Like I don't think you get that everywhere you go. Even if you go a little further north, like it makes it harder to ride your bike around. As soon as you cross kind of over the freeway, then it's harder because there's just more traffic and busier streets. But we're so lucky that we're able to do that. It's awesome. Yeah.
And I agree 100%. And I think, I mean, I have to give huge shout out for that one to like our cities and our trail systems and people, because I mean, even in the last like 4 or 5 years, how much that's changed. I mean, that like really the bikeability and the like pedestrians, like it's really like promoted to ride your bike. And before it was like, people would get yelled at for riding their bikes. Now it's like, no, get on your bikes or go walk and like really be, and I'm excited more bike lanes are coming in, and like the city's really important.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's a really fun way to see the town too, and kind of slow down enough to look around you and like notice new businesses, notice things going on. Like I think, it's sometimes it's harder to catch the little things that are happening, and when you're just driving in a car. So yeah, we have a good city for that.
I agree. So if someone wants to get a hold of you, what is the best way, whether it's real estate, and also if someone's listening, they're like, I want to get involved with Full Moon Cruiser Ride. How do I do this? What do I do? So how can someone get a hold of you?
Yeah, I have a bunch of different social media outlets that I have to check every day. So I have a personal one. It's just Danica Gilbert. And then I also do the Full Moon Ride stuff. So the CDA Full Moon Bike Ride. We have an Instagram, we have a Facebook group. And then I manage all the local real estate stuff too. So I'm on the website, I'm on yeah, I guess all of their Instagram, Facebook, all of those things. So yeah, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of.
Yeah.
I'm really on social media a lot, and yeah.
Perfect. Last question is, it was a rough year. You and I talked, right? It was funny because you reconnected. You're like, hey, we want to get the trail involved. This is what we're wanting to do. And like on my store or on my feed, it was like, oh, a year ago you interviewed Danica about the full moon cruiser rides. And I was like, oh, how the year has changed from
Yeah.
thought we were in the beginning of a pandemic. We're like, oh, we're going to be quarantined for a couple months. And now we
Yeah.
look at the world and what we went through. Do you have a piece of advice to give to someone that maybe is either struggling or going through a really rough time? Just like kind of a positive note to leave people with?
Oh my gosh. I think that like some of the best things you can do for yourself is just get outside and try to get outside every day. Even if it's for a 5-minute walk or, just to sit on your front porch. I think when you're having a hard time or, going through stuff, that's the best thing you can do, especially, well, exercise obviously, but even if you just don't feel like it, just go sit outside and luckily we're in a good spot for that. So yeah,
Yes,
that'd be
exactly.
my,
That's the best piece of advice. And in the vitamin D or the fresh air can like cure so much.
it can, it makes you feel so good. Yeah. And especially right now when we're starting to see the blue skies and the weather's changing, it's like finally
I mean,
everyone feels happier. Everything just seems better. They're
we
like,
couldn't have asked for a better full moon cruiser ride this week. I mean, it was like perfect weather. It was
oh,
a little chilly, but it was like if you just wore a jacket, it was like perfect.
yeah, it was like the best weather. I don't know how that happened because all day it was like gray clouds, little tiny trickles of rain. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be such a bummer. And then it just cleared up and it was perfect.
It
It
was a
was so
fun
nice.
party. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
Danica,
great.
thank you so very much. And
Yeah.
have a great day.
Thanks, Tabitha.
Thanks for listening to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Crock, and every Monday I release a podcast about different community members here in North Idaho. And then we end the weeks on Fridays with a podcast about the things I'm passionate about: outdoors, adventures, sports, the van life, and even current events. So if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes. Thank you again. Now go be kind and do something great.